I think it's going. I think I have some sound. Fingers crossed. Hello, welcome. This evening, I'm going to paint some Mr. Sheen. Now I know how people are with YouTube and stuff. I'd like to point out I'm not sponsored by Mr. Sheen. I'm never going to be sponsored by Mr. Sheen because if they came around my house, they wouldn't see me as the ideal proponent of their products. But I do own some Mr. Sheen. I think it's still my original can of Mr. Sheen. And hopefully it will, I'll never have to buy another one. I very much doubt that. So, in the spirit of appreciating shininess, I put a mug in there as well because I felt like I wanted something that wasn't red. It was all very red and orange. So I feel like the mug kind of represents a little tea break. I may well change it out for a different one. But certainly my attitude to cleaning is once I've done a whole load of cleaning, the 3 minutes is up and it's time to have a cup of tea. So this is what I'm having a go at tonight. Sadly, we are without Graham this evening. So I'll have no one to hurl abuse at. But I'm going to have some fun painting anyway, because this is my little window of the week where I sit down and paint whether I feel like I want to or not, whether it seems like a good idea or not, whether I feel inspired or not. Just sit down, get on with it, see what happens. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's a disaster. That's all part of the fun. I hope the image is clear enough. Oh, I'm going to do a bit of an adjustment there. No, that would have been upsetting some of you. So do send messages. I will go over to the computer periodically and have a look and see what people are saying. And so if you've got any things to do to start a conversation, chip in. Very happy to hear what people are thinking and what their reaction is. I've got some of the green from last week. I did a green picture and I did a load of red underneath to make them vibrate. This week, I think I will do the opposite, and I will do a bit of drawing using some of this green. A bit of raw umber just to put it into the dark regions of colour. And I have to think about my composition. Is it a bit flat? Is it a bit? Because the tricky thing I've got here is that Mr. Sheen bottle is only going to be this high. And maybe I should cut off the duster and change that mug out. And go with... Alright, I will make the appropriate adjustments. Go with the portrait format. I think portrait works better. I think you agree with me as well. There is a brightness issue. I've got the light on. So that's okay, that adjusts. Not ideal, but that's pretty close. So now when I look at it, I've got this sort of diagonal going down here, and I want my mug to break into that somewhere, so I think that's about where Mr. Sheen is going to go. Perhaps you're in another country and you don't have Mr. Sheen there. Perhaps he's known by another name, like Hair Sheen or Monsieur Le Sheen or something. So if I do this, that's it. Okay, I've got a measurement here, so that measurement has to go across, which means I have this sort of space here. Top of that lid is going to go here. That's about the space where that would be, which would put it into my can there, which would make it about this high. So yeah, I think I guessed that pretty well. That wasn't even meant to be the right edge or something, it was just a way of placing it. And there's this nice reflection. So I found this shelf, and that's what I put this on. It was one I made that I didn't have a use for at the time, and it's been leaning against a wall, so it's one of the few things in the studio, all of that have not got a healthy and generous coating of dust, which would have been perfect for the subject matter, but there we are. That's from the handle of the mug, so I don't know if I will keep the mug there. I might not. No, that's going to go here. Which means that's that wide. Which means this is the corner of a duster. So that's sort of crinkly pattern going over here. Is that going to leave too much space at the top? I think I'm going to have to move everything up. I'm going to move everything up to here. Which, if I measure it across, is about that, which means this is going to go up to here. This is going to go up to there. This is going to go up to about there. That's going to, those sides are going to go up as well. It's going to go up to about there. That dark space there. Okay, so I'm starting to put some bits together. It might look very confusing that there's this double image appearing now, and it is. It's very, very confusing, but I can remove bits of paint as I go along if that's in the way, stopping me from thinking straight about what it is I'm trying to do. Similarly here, I'll put a bit of that in. Okay, something like that. And this will go up to here, so that's going to be that shape there, which means I can get rid of that. That's going to be around the bottom of my lid. About here, which means that edge of that. Yes, that seems to match up quite nicely. Get rid of that. A bit of shadow comes in here. Bottom of that, that's my little crinkly shape. Bottom of the duster. Oh, maybe around here somewhere, isn't it? Maybe about there. Maybe I haven't got that perfect first time. That's mildly off-putting. That's mildly off-putting. Get rid of them. Bang. Done. Haven't put the mug in. And I think if I did, I'd put it over here, and I think it would be smaller. This is an oversized mug. So maybe we'll put it around here somewhere. It could use with a thing in there to fill up that space. Let's go back to this diagonal. Again, that needs to wander right off. It shallower than that. That's the shape there. Shadow. Maybe I don't need to know how tall the Mr. Sheen cat is yet. I do need to know roughly where the shadow is. Yeah, so I've got a rough placement of what goes where now, which I'm comfortable with. I might try and get another light on this, hopefully in a way that doesn't make it go all shiny or disturb the subject matter. We'll see, we'll see. That background bit is not in the right place. That needs to come lower down. It's going to make more sense of a mug if it does go there. Just imagining a mug at the moment. Well, okay, now there's a nice quality to this sort of early loose painting, where you're just chucking it on. That's going to be here. There's going to be some reflections there, as you would hope, given the subject matter. The rattling is from the blinds behind me because they're shut, because otherwise it's too light, and then the window's open, and etc. etc. Yeah, something like that. Something like that. Now, I'm not going to keep changing cameras because I'll change to my palette cam and then forget. Just set a timer or something. Oh, there we go. Hi, Josie. Yeah, that's all working. No complaints about a lack of sound or anything like that yet, so I'm going to crack on with this. Now, I have a limitation with a painting like this, and that limitation is the colour gamut, and it's the red. So I am going to need to know which is my reddest red, so there's room for it to sort of do its red work without sort of running out of redness. I don't know if any of that makes sense. What am I trying to say? I'm trying to say something. What I'm trying to say is that I can't make anything very much more intense and present and bright as cadmium red. Cadmium red with a bit of yellow in it probably won't hurt. So if I set up a colour range, and the red doesn't look red enough, there's nothing I can do beyond that. Which means this potentially could use a little bit of white in it as well, just a tiny bit. This is maximum red. That's going to go on the lid is slightly more crimson. The tin itself is slightly more orange. So I'm going to put a bit of that on there. Maybe the palette knife might help in terms of maximizing that. Make it a little bit more. Oh no, it's still quite orange on the lid as well. That is lighter. Now it gets more. Yeah, they're pretty much commensurate. There we are. Which means the browns have to be the appropriate amount less red than this in order to look right. So just with the red that's left on the palette knife and a bit of raw umber, mix a brown. That brown is going to you know what, there's a bunch of things I'm going to do with this. One, let's get some yellow ochre. So I'll steal from another palette. This will help keep things a bit softer in the brown department. And the red, now I could use another red just to keep a bit of variety. A bit like they used to do if there was some big altarpiece that Titian or Tintoretto or something like that was painting. There was a vast swathe of red. They'd frequently use a fairly cheap earth colour for most of it, and then just finish off the brightest highlights with something like vermilion, which was horribly expensive. Now this is very dark, but not too dark. It's also still quite a strong colour. So what I might do is make a grey as well. I've got this green, so I use a bit of that, bit of blue. Get that to the same tone. A little bit lighter even. Once they're about the same tone, I can take a bit of this grey, a bit of this brown, make a lower chroma brown. And then when that goes on, start using a brush here, I think. Dry. See what this does. So put a bit on there. This one's red on another brush. Oh, it's clean. Goodness, some spin on this. Oh no, it's clean. Let's put them next to one another. If I chuck that red in roughly where it needs to go, there's some over here as well. A little bit showing through, not too much. Let it mix it with the green a bit to make it darker. I can see these two colours next to one another. This red can get brighter. So as I add white to it, I'll also be adding some yellow. It goes on nice and thick. For a few little bright highlights going on afterwards. Yeah, that needs to move across. So I'm starting this with the lid now, actually. And before it was more seemingly about the where the duster was. It's gone out the window. Okay, now this is going to mix in with this green a bit, which is fine by me. Because it means that I can add more reds afterwards. I'm going to change that mug now, because that's going to change this reflection and all sorts of things. That brown. I should be able to put other colours into this brown. Don't know how much I should be changing it now. That's still got to move across, isn't it? And it's got to get yellower. So now I can put a bit more colour into it. And a bit of the grey, just push that back a little bit. There we go. Kind of where the dust is going to be, somewhere around there. And that's grey at the top. Put that shadow. Yeah, I'm going to need to change this mug out. And I think I had just the one. Ooh. So that relates to the green. The green and the red go well together. You're not seeing it exactly from my viewpoint. I'll turn that a bit. So this is a Penguin Books. It makes no difference to the colour at all. So yeah, should probably get over that. So this brown is going in really thin. It's a layer. It's opaque, but it's a very flat layer. That horizon bit's moving down every time I look at it. It's very odd. This is probably coming across a bit. So yeah, the can's creeping towards the centre, but not completely to the centre, so that's okay. And that's good, because it brings in a bit more duster with it. Again, there's no exact placement with these things, so I'm free to move them around. There's a temptation to put a little bit of oil into this, just to make it mobile, but there should be enough paint there that I won't disturb it. Let's go about there. And I can work the other colours in over the top, and they'll sort of naturally mix on the surface, creating a bit of a soft edge. A negative space here needs putting back. Yeah, around there. Interfering. Yeah, and I'm very much just eyeballing this. I'm not trying to do sort of perfect drawing or anything like that, because it's really doesn't warrant that. It's not that sort of painting, I don't think. Now that's in, I can do colours in pairs, and I think that's yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. got this browny colour. I've got this grey I mixed. I'm going to get some yellow. It's a warm yellow for the dusters. It's actually quite a bit of white in it. Very few bits will actually get intense yellow. There we go. It's approaching it. Probably a bit more yellow than it used to be, but hey, nothing else is very yellow, so I'm kind of safe there. That's a colour I can exaggerate because it's not going to argue with anything else. It's not going to put anything out of balance. Take a bit of this shadow and a bit of that brown to warm it up and darken it. And I don't want it to go too red, which is something that frequently is useful to do with yellows. We get these extra warm colours when they go into shadow. I don't want it to go too green, which is what happens if you just put black into yellow. So that's pretty good. Yeah, so you can always go a bit darker than that. I've got this brush on. And I'm really just going to blob these in where they go. It's going to be around here. And it looks quite light at the moment. But it's too light. A bit of raw umber. A bit more of this grey. That's too dark now. I'll put some of this yellow back into it. Remember I put a load of white into it. Okay, that's probably more like it. Get off. Yeah. Oh, that's better. There's these two little dimples which sit just under that mark there. So we're going to go here and here. I'm going to orient my way around. I'm going to create a bit of a map for myself around the image using things like that. But this probably goes further across. Some of the shadows, some darks in there. Dents and bits and pieces. Nothing much more than that. Oh, it's pretty much the same as the brown, isn't it? Okay. I'm going to make a darker version of this brown. Stick a little bit of alizarin in it. It's the first time the alizarin's turned up to help. But help it well. It's my cool red. And that's going to give me a shape there. And here. And that's a light bit in between. So that's going to come all the way across. I've got this shadow shape there. And that needs to be a bit further down. Wow. I'm telling myself I'll fix this stuff as I go along. It's quite possible I completely forget and not remember. That's it. So I was trying to get to this shadow under here. Yeah, so I haven't actually got around to sort of mixing a specific light colour or a specific shadow colour yet. I'm kind of playing around with this as I go along at the moment. That's roughly what it's going to be. Let's put that little corner on there. Okay, that's going to fit now. Ooh. Oh, wakey. Right. Just that yellow off. There's a few lighter bits of yellow that aren't going to come in. Before that, I don't want to go into the full-on yellow. Oops, I'm going to need some more white. Okay, too many things at once now. Stop. Relax. Let's put some colour out. let's have a bit of unbleached titanium white, because that's quite useful when you're trying to stay away from the bright highlights. It's a nice sort of softening colour as well. What else is around the place? Oh, yeah. Now, when you get to the end of the tube, it's very easy to be a bit stingy, but I mustn't be. Most importantly, because I do have another tube. Having a backup tube is really important, because if you're trying to make a tube last, yeah, I guarantee you're ruining your painting by doing so. Let's put a bit more in that. Mixing white. Yes, I think I will. I will have some mixing white, if I can find it. It's around here somewhere. That's all I've been using so far. It is a titanium white, might have a bit of zinc white in it, but it's got fillers in it as well, and it's denser, thicker. So it's quite good for building texture, and especially where you don't want high tinting strength. So especially for that kind of clayey, is that word? Sort of effect with the dusters. There you are. It's not the bright yellow. Still got a bit of dirt in it, much like my dusters. I'm not entirely sure if this is the right colour. I guess I'll find out. Let's take the excess off. Let's see what this does. If I put a bit, actually just here now. They're still not dark enough. It will do for some of the lighter colours. Let's take half of that off. A bit more back in it. Than that even. Yeah, it's going to go a lot grayer. Or a little bit of that brown for warmth. Notice I'm not putting red in it directly anywhere. So I'm saving up my red for the other bit. So yeah, okay, that's all right. It's got a bit of gloom to it. You can get away with a little bit more yellow in there. What's that doing? Yeah, something like that. Just got to find those shapes to begin with. Okay, where else? Where else is that going? Something here. Up here. And I get to my two little dimple shapes. Again, a bit more yellow in that, I think. One's across the top. It's a triangle of light, and then it carries on. So yeah, so I'm finding bits and pieces as I go along now. It's mixing on the surface, being fairly loose. back into my darks again. Let's do it with a brush mix because this does need to be a bit more yellow. That's it. That's going to be in there. Back to the light one. A little bit lighter even. There we go. I'm not yet convinced that's going to look like a duster, but for the moment, it's sort of doing its job. That's going to come up, go across. Don't need to get too thick. Not in a way that I'm not controlling it. Now this is going to leave room for me to put in some extra shadows and some extra brights. I was talking about mixing 2 colours per object, wasn't I? Which I haven't done here yet. That's better. So I'm finding more of this brown now. It needs to move up. There you are. And a lot of this will be doing its job quite happily without me having to fiddle with it or do anything clever or interesting. We've got that shadow behind. Again, borrow a bit of red. Yeah. Now I have got a red accent light on, so that's going to add some warmth to what's going on behind. Get rid of that. And so you can see my drawing turning up here. Okay. Well, I've got this red. Like I said, I will be laying in some extra red afterwards. But in the meantime, let's see what this does. Okay, it gets redder on the other side, so I'm just doing this with a brush mix. How red does it get? How red can it get? Quite exciting. Ooh, I feel like I need to tone it down a bit. I also feel like I'm chickening out. What's that? Ooh. Let's move that all the way out. It gets down to here, it gets brown now again. So there's a third red over here. And again, a bit of mixing white. Actually, it's slightly rosier, that one. It's definitely darker. Yeah, it's a lot browner. Let's put some raw umber and a bit of yellow over in that. See what it does. Oh, that's better. Yeah. I can keep going with the darks here. A bit that side. I can still work over it with the lights. It's going to come here. That's where Mr. Sheen is going to announce himself with his big flashy name. Right. So as I lighten this, I'm also going to want to add a bit more yellow to it. That's going to come in here. There we are. So that's going to mix in. Yeah, something like that. I'll probably have the colour shaper out in a bit to it's darker there. Just to what's the word? Ooh, it's another place I can use this. Yeah, just to sort of clear the space for the words and that kind of thing. So here, that'll make more sense of this now. Use that. Needs to mix in. That comes all the way across. And down the extra bit, remember, I'm going to need a separate brush from all red. And over this side too. Is that too dark? I think it's too dark. Have I messed it up? How's that look? No. I wanted to say yes, but it's a giant no. No. Rubbish. Very dark orange going on there at some point, but okay, I'm looking at details too, which I have to stop doing because the details are actually not going to help me. They're just going to get in the way. That slope, that shape there, blur that in a bit. There you are. It's a bit of brush mixing working for you. More of this, a little bit in there maybe. Where else? A little bit in here. This is over. Something like that there. Oh, now I can also use these colours with the bits on the dusters. Feel like I need a background colour, and I need that background colour because I need it to contribute to the colour of the shiny shelf when that happens. In the meantime, what's next? I'm going to do a thing. That was cryptic, wasn't it? I'm going to sort this light out because the light imbalance is causing a real problem. It's making my canvas look really dark, which it just isn't. So it's incredible. Maybe they do heat up a bit, but there you go. Okay, just this. Okay. Just the accent, right? Let's make it clean like that. That worked, it has. And that's brightness is a bit better, isn't it? Well, I'll take the brightness down. My camera should adjust. So that's going the other way. Get the background and the canvas to match pretty well tonally. That's much better, because when it's much too bright, that's what happens. This is one of the tricky things about using cameras. It's a bit bright there. And then that's pretty good. I think I can get away with that. Yeah, now I haven't got my accent light, but I can fix that using the power of coloured glass. much. That's too much, in fact. It's much brighter than the others. Options here. Which is that? There we are. Cheeky, but it works. So I can proceed now. I hope that's an improvement. Hey. No, my eyes have to adjust a bit, but other than that, that's fine. Oh, I've made some terrible errors with this. This Mr. Sheening can. So, I'm going to go back to my red. Get back to my brighter red. See where else I can put that. Just going to come across here. Bit of yellow, a bit of white. Some of that red in. That's it, it's crisp. Okay, and there's brighter bit of each of these red objects. The cap is going to sit there. It's also going to have what I've already painted. Put that in. Sort of highlight going across. I can work my way back into these slightly brighter reds as I go. Do the same thing with the can. A bit of a brighter red there. Here. Down here, that's too much. It gets even redder as you go in. To here. This hard do it. Accent right is too bright. I'm going to put a piece of towel in front of it. I should calm it down. A little bit closer to my previous lighting conditions. How's that? Better, much better. Keep getting up to this. Get over here. Now, I might just burn on through it tonight, not pause. I am working on making some new time lapses. I figure everyone's absolutely bored out of their minds of the previous ones, if they've ever watched them at all. So I'm not seeing enough of a contrast. This jump here isn't represented on this side. I think I need to go a bit darker. I can put a little bit of blue in that, just to be cheeky. It's very hard to see up this top edge, but there's definitely one sort of dark bit there. I could fiddle around with that if I'm not careful. And go back to my orangey colours. Still got a bit of the dark on the bottom, and then I can put a bit of that in here. That's going to give me a bottom edge, and then lighten it up a bit. And then darken it again. Keep seeing new things. Thank you. Bad enough with the boy races. Now that blind wants attention. No, it's weird. I go one slightly bit darker, and it's just a whole giant jump. There we are. It's got a glow going through it, so I'll put that in as well. A little bit reflecting off there. Is that going to do it? I think it is, because there's also a nice little highlight around that edge. Sometimes I like to just indulge in a bit of detail. Extra yellow on there as well. See if we can just wake this up. That's going to do a nice job. It says, again, I'll darken all this down again now. This is the tricky thing with red. If it's red enough, it's too dark, and if it's dark enough, it's not red enough. Okay, there you are. That kind of works. Kinda. Okay, let's make this redder as well. Right here, definitely do with a bit of it. That definitely does. Let's chuck that on thick. And it's going to travel across here when it gets to the top. Okay, background colour. Let's have a bit of that. I've got this slightly orangey theme. I'm going to use some unbleached titanium. I'll put a bit of that red in, a bit of that red in. See what it does to it. Slightly pinky, that's what I wanted. Another bit of red in and the tiniest bit of blue. Maybe I'll do this off to one side because the blue's Could be a bit touchy. Bit more alizarin. There we are. So put a small quantity of that in. That works pretty well. It's quite light, but it can get darker as it goes across. I'll make a redder version of this violet I just did. Have a bit of that yellow in it too. A bit more orange. Everything's a wind up. Much better. Again, this isn't like a final colour. This is a couple of colours that can wander across the background, contribute to the foreground, and then be contributed to by some other flavours of light and reflected light. Can I use this for something? Oh, that's my brown brush. Yeah, I'll use that, be fine. I'll use a little bit of oil in this. Just to make it flow a bit. I'm starting to draw in where this mug's going to go as well now. Brown coming through, that's okay. Didn't do a shadow colour. I like a bit of that green showing through the gap. Work too hard to get rid of that. Just up here though, it's particular shapes that I want. It gets brighter over here. Just a little bit of that mixing white. A bit more oil. Yeah. Don't like those little bits coming through from underneath the brush. Probably using too much pressure. Releasing paint that's got into the ferrule somehow. This is way too high. What are you doing up there? No. Okay. Just add a bit of this pinky colour to it. Okay, this is the kind of thing that will give it atmosphere. I don't think about too much about what's the right colour to use or whatever. It really is about following a feeling, what feels like the right colour for the mood. And if I go over some edges, it doesn't matter. And if I do it in bits, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be one long continuous line or anything. Anything I put on I can take off. Anything I take off I can put back. So again, let's go into that slightly brighter. A little bit of yellow. This can also work for a darker version of the lights on the mug. It's going to go there. This is going to go here. See the yellow. Okay, back into that shadow colour again. Oh, that's it. We have to start to put that in. It's not dark enough. Yeah, okay, this is getting tricky. I'm going to have to slow down for it. Let's just put a few of these shapes in first. Nozzle's going to be around there somewhere. What else? That's in shadow. Shadow's actually going to be a bit pinker too. Yeah. Okay, look at the shapes. Forget about trying to make it perfect. You don't want perfect. Okay. I'll make a new shadow color over here. It's going to have a bit of that purple in it. Is that dark enough? No, all blue enough. I'm definitely into brush mixes now, which is possibly not ideal, but we'll see what happens. Hey. Okay. Let's get another brush for that green. That'll do it. So now I've found my way to some of those colours. If I need to mix more with a palette knife, because they need to be thicker or use a large quantity of paint, then I can do that. I've got the colour to match it to. This here a green though. Oh, that's a bit shouty. Chocolate, that pink in it. There's white. Too much white. Get carried away now. You know, it's pretty close. Pop a little bit of brown in it. Now I should actually get two greens out of this. I should get the light one and the shadow one out of what's left over. See how this plays. So you should have got a brush with a better shape on it. Oh God, what's that? What the hell is wrong with me? I'm so embarrassed about that. Please pretend you didn't see that. It's not checking against anything. I'm not checking against the brown. It's the same tone as the brown. It's so obvious now. Oh, I'm just disgusted with myself for doing that. What an idiot. Right. Where was I? Oh, yes. But this brown is going to lighten up a bit, so it's not actually that bad. That's darker. Might well do for some of the shadows. So I'll pop that there. Mix up what's left. the yellow ochre. So avoid things getting too yellow. Still really, really light. It looks so dark on the palette, and it looks so light when you put it on. How's it look compared to that? No, still nowhere close. I'm doing all this with brown and turquoise. This has got to be it. It's got to be close to it. It's pretty yellow. Still way too light. Am I thinking? Let me use my shadow color and see what it does. That's too much. Okay, this is fine tuning then. It's halfway between these two. Let's have a bit of each. Okay, little vertical mark there. We got the penguin. So for those of you that haven't seen them, Penguin started selling these Penguin Classic mugs with famous books on them, presumably because it was easier than selling the actual books. So it's good to know in which direction modern literature is moving. It's moving into the gift shop. Okay, going back to that original green here. It's quite blue. Around here, that's where that turns up. Somewhere around there. I don't know how much I'm being distracted by what I've already done. But like I said, it's nothing I can't undo. And it's the colours that are going to do the work here. It's not the drawing. I really need to relax about that. That said, I love drawing. It's, you know, crazy how much sort of practice you put into it, almost automatically just by virtue of making pictures all the time. You may have noticed I don't do a whole lot of measuring because frankly, I just don't really have to anymore. But doesn't mean I don't make giant mistakes, but I'd make those even if I sort of measured in some kind of meticulous way. So and also there's the question of how much difference does it make to the painting anyway? What is it you're painting? So for here, it is the colours that are doing the job. And ooh, too pink? No, you can get away with that. So again, there, that's nice. Pop that on. Oh yeah, that's some of that light. It's going to go on over here. There's plenty of room for specular highlights later. So I'm not robbing myself of the opportunity to do any of that. like that violet. But we'll go across into this lighter colour here. So did that do its job? There we go. Right here, that zips right up. It's part of an ellipse and it's going around a corner. That's what it wants to do. This will do the same. That you can also kind of mix in with the background, which I quite like. Again, that darker version wasn't dark enough. Yeah, not too much, too blue. Yes, it needs to be redder. I'm starting to lose old colours now. Redder. Right now. Oh. Ah. Well, nothing I can't fix when I come back to the foreground. Okay. Well, I got rather caught up in this this mug here. Get that shape just right. It will do an awful lot of work for me. That needs to be pretty much straight. The yellow's going to come back for the tea stains. Highlights are going to have to come back to change that shape. Oh. What's that doing? Doing it? No, it needs a bit more of a swoop underneath. There it is. Okay, this is not a good brush to use for this. It's not keeping its shape very well. Maybe that makes it better. Yeah, it probably does actually. Right. Background. Is this background? Can't even remember. No. Lumps are not welcome. Get out. Oh. You could wreck a whole painting just chasing a lump of paint around. Dried paint around the surface. Well, the mugs ended up becoming rather neat. In fact, all of it's ended up becoming rather neat. But I was kind of enjoying that, so I'm going to keep going with it. introduce a new brush. Ta-da! Okay. Did I try that properly? That needs to be thicker paint. It really does. Blue, mixing white. Some of those are oh, needs to be browner even. I ought to stop for a break. You don't stop for a break, you mess stuff up. Hello, boss. Very good of you to join us. Oh, come off it. I'm sorry, we are alarmed. Alarmed, Mr. Muggins. Yeah, I made the mistake of moving slightly then. So obviously everything collapses. Oh, that's not it. These tones have been very, very tricky indeed. So it's almost black on the palette. And then I put it on here and it looks positively pale. There we go, there it looks darker. It's a bit of cadmium in it. Just brown it up, warm it up. There we are. There's something here, something working. Oh, hi Emma. Yes, the cat content has already been and gone, I'm afraid. Came in, he ignored me, went away again. That's what it does for fun. Now, another part of the reason I usually have a break in the middle, apart from just sort of to reset, is because you put your brushes down and when you get them out again, you kind of clean them as you need to and you kind of go through that process again. Now I've got a handful of brushes and with different colours on them, and yeah, I've sort of hit critical mass, and they've all got paint on the handles as well because I took it too far. I took it too far. I didn't know my own limits. I tried to have 6 brushes without getting paint on my hand. Gone. Okay. So I need to put these other ones down. I'll do it like that. I hope all the paint is all and the ends is all mixed together. No, it won't, because I'm massively overloading things with paint. Okay, let me go back to this green here. So that's there. It's going to spike up like that. But the bottom of that mug is going to move. This brush. I'll go back to my lights. So that's got to go there. No. Just take a section of it, put it in like that. Go to the darker bit. And maybe, yeah, maybe something like that. Does that work? It kind of does. Subtle. And right, so things I'm itching to do. I really want to get the base in, that reflection, and then just do a few things to these dusters. And guess what else is tricky? I've got this grey at the top. I'm hoping this is about right. It's actually quite good if the green shows through as well. Pop a bit of that in, pop a bit of that green in, see what it does. Does it make it worse? Back to some violets right here. That do for a shadow colour. It's still not dark enough. Yeah, that'll do it. So I was threatening bringing out the colour shaper. I might yet do that. I'll put a little bit of thinners on this. Let's brush tiniest hint of a wash. That's the wrong brush for this. I need a sharper brush. I don't get too fiddly and small. Okay. Yeah. That shape there is going to be important. Get too thin on that. Another on the other side. This is what's going to tell you about that slightly domed, sticking out shape at the top of the aerosol can. Another one there. Let's look at this collar on it. Yeah, that'll do. Top of that up. This side. I don't know what it's doing, but I'll put a little dab in. A bit of black just for that nozzle. Let's do the same thing around the bottom. Oh, it's lots of ellipses on this one, which is, you know, it's tricky enough. Again, part of the approach is not to try and do sort of one continuous line. If I can avoid that, this mug. Hey. Do okay. More dark in there. Stretch that across a little bit. Again, I'm always going to put that highlight back on afterwards, so I can overdo this. This is yellow. Is that too dark? Yes, it is. There we go. That's yellow. The last bit is the light. Go for some actual titanium white since I'm bothered to put it out. With a bit of yellow ochre. Yeah. Okay. Now need that background colour again. Okay, let's see what this does. Something to that. Right, the bongs tell me I have about half an hour left, so that's plenty of time to chuck in some of these highlights. That's going to be one. That's going to be another. And that. Just dips down, doesn't it? And the same thing with the top. I'll dip up here. Okay. I go back here, moving back to my sort of mauvey colour. Should be able to bring some lights into this here, underneath there. Curved bit, a bit of the dome. Okay, do a bit of that. What else? Oh, now this reflecting orange is going to have an effect. Set that into there, don't fiddle with it. I can pop a bit on here. That's going to help. little bit on the edge. Just a bit of a glow. Right, while this is on, that's going to be orangey. The end is going to be orangey. The underneath colour will help take care of that anyway. Okay, let's do a little reset. Think about what I need this to do. A bit of that swooping. We always think of Mr. Sheen as being sort of quite stately because, you know, he's in his aeroplane with his white beard, you know, and but actually he's a bit flash, a bit vulgar, really. It's a bit of a show off. I don't like him. That's not the reason I don't use the product. Fortunately, that's my own slovenliness. But all right. Let's get some of this red and put it into the reflection there. And it'll keep going down here a little bit, but only a bit. I'll put a bit in there as well, actually. No, that's too. That needs to lighten. So yeah, so let's lighten it. Okay. Start to see it. I don't want to jump ahead to do highlights of bits and pieces. So this last bit is that wood colour. Just started off with some raw umber and some cadmium red, if I remember correctly. And some yellow ochre. And then I mixed this grey, which I added to it to neutralise it, which was about the same tone. But it makes seem like probably wouldn't hurt. Okay. Now I've got that, again, I can make a light version, which I'll do over here. I'll add some of this violet into it. I'll even use the big brush here, because that already had that colour on it. And that's going to go in here. And here. Here. Still lighten up a bit more, actually. Come on. Not long now. You can do it. Right. This is going to do a job. Should be quite effective. I'm just going to paste that in there like that. A few other bits and pieces, so yeah. Get some highlights up there. Go into the bright bit slightly. Maybe just do that little Swoop. Carry that round. Got a bit there. Okay. This can get paler again. Oh no, not paler. It's going to get browner again. You know what? It's going to get more orange. Here. There we go. And that's what's going to make this bit work. So it's going to be in here. A little bit behind there. Oh, that's wrong, isn't it? Be behind there, probably. So come back in with the dark colours afterwards. Ah, what's that? Go away. No one asked for you. Okay, this is where it becomes interesting. I'm going to use that red brush now. Oh, am I going to need it again? I'm almost certainly going to need it again, aren't I? I can always employ another one. I'm going to put a load of this dark on it. I'm going to use it to reinforce some of these shadows, like that one that just went. And that. The green's actually still showing through the gaps. It's quite effective. Here. No, that's going to need to be lighter. Here it's going to be darker. No, it can be even darker there. Goodness, it's been quite the balancing act, this picture. Lots of different types of colours, none of whom really want to agree with one another very well. There you are. Pop a bit of that in there. A bit of a dark edge. I think I've got away with that. Make that taper a little bit because it's more appealing to look at. I'm going to put in the shadow under there. Proper shadow. Like that. Oh, should have done that really, but there you go. It's too late now. Okay, well that's on there. Okay, this is where this stuff is going to get effective. This bluey shadow colour. It's going to create this slightly greeny effect, and it's going to work into the surface and create this sort of dappled, folded cloth thing going on. Put a bit more into that. There we are. Same thing here. Oh. And even underneath, give it a bit of an edge. A few shadows. There's some. There's some more. Yeah, some more red in here. Let that travel down. So sketchy bits. Woo! It's funny how it sort of turns up. How long have I got? Right, so I'm going to want some of these yellows. Got some bright yellows here. Really quite cheeky ones. I'm going to want a bit on that. that too much? I feel like I may have gone too far too soon. I'll stop slightly shy of that. So let's put some of these on. And there is a place where that goes, and that's here. We'll go back to that slightly paler one. It's got some of those highlights that I was talking about earlier. Some on here too. Okay, now it's starting to look like a duster. The other in that. The thing that's really going to make the difference, this is going to be a lot of fun, is, oh, it's tricky. So put these little edges on. Sort of red threads. Same thing over here. Some extra bright on there. On this end. Here. A bit of extra yellow on that. Okay. Now, this is where it's going to get interesting. Is that a sharp brush? Yes, it is. Okay, this is going to work. I shouldn't have said that in advance, should I? Idiotic. No, that's too bright, too dark, sorry. Well, there's a few places you could do with being a bit darker. Yeah. Maybe in here. Maybe in here. Oh, in there in the shadows. Where else? Over here. What's that? It's a bit of the dark yellow in there. Here. Yeah, a few in there. I wonder if it'll do a trick on this. Yeah, refine that edge a bit. I don't want to overfiddle with this. Bro. Yes, this needs to get lighter and more orange. And maybe that'll work. So I should be able to make these look like dusters just by adding these little dashes on, these little rhythms of how they stitch up the edges. I don't know if anyone actually uses old-fashioned dusters anymore. It's all microfiber cloths now. I don't like that kind of thing. I don't use microfiber cloths. Don't use dusters either. It's just the whole thing's a bit suspicious. So I'm trying to avoid it completely. Right, okay. A few other things. So I've still got this green brush. So just to be consistent, put this green on here. It's not the right green, it's a green. Maybe it'll work, I don't know. That's it for the green. And put a bit of red in there. Yeah. A bit of red in there. Oh, done. What else is there? Oh yes, the old colour shaper. I'm not going to do all the lettering or anything, but there's a few sort of bits. We're just having a bit of clear canvas. Won't hurt. Oh, be helpful. I could do a vertical mark, wouldn't it? Oh. I don't know what it's 2 times better than, but it's 2 times better than something. Whatever it's 2 times better than is in very small print, so I'm imagining they're not as confident about it as they might sound. Okay. Where was I? Do need... That's a sharp brush, so I'll do it. So I'm not going to go full on with white or anything like that. It's not going to be too bright. It's going to be gestural rather than literal. What else needs to be a brighter white? Put it around the edge of this, down here. Ah, it's not showing up at all. I don't really need it to, because otherwise it doesn't look right. Yeah, that'll do it. Stop you seeing it in the wrong place. Okay, this is going to have to be grayer now. Not grey enough. There you are. Okay. I just I don't know if it's a joke anyone's made before, but it occurs to me that I just imagined that sort of the act of dusting itself could be in a Stephen King novel because of the horror, and it would be called The Sheening. And I'm sorry and good night. I don't know why that appeared. I think an unregistered part of my brain is looking for sheen puns. I wonder how many tins of it Martin Sheen has received in his lifetime from people who are not as funny as they think they are. No, is it no? Martin Sheen's the Apocalypse Now guy, isn't he? I'm thinking of the Welsh one. Right, a bit of that in there. And cheekily throw some of this red in places where it looks like it doesn't belong, but it actually does. There we are. There's some. Bit of heat into that. Oh, I can't get the bottom of this mug right at all. Which means I guess I'll just do it badly. That's fine. Oh yeah, never occurred to me I could just do it badly. Oi, Sheen. That's an important dark. There. It's going to give meaning to a lot of it. Where else? Here, quite a bit in here. There, so I nearly missed that. That makes a difference. When it gets darker again. And here. There you are. So specular highlights. We're going to have a couple there. It's going to mix with what's underneath, so it's not a problem. But I've got the white straight out of the tube. Now that's mixed a bit, I can use a bit on there. Before I reload the brush, go back over here. No, still not, it's not going. I don't know if I put too much paint on or what's happening. That is not having it. Oh, there you are. Okay. Mix with a bit of pink here. There we go. Oh. Flash of highlight over there, that's too much. Push that back. Oh, last bit, let's get some of this yellow. Where can I put a really bright yellow? A bit there. A bit there. Already did do that one. There's already enough paint on there, I can't really get any more on. I don't know how I'm doing for time. So I missed the bongs and I'm going over. That's quite possible. Right, stop that. This is now brown. so I can use it to actually deliberately put in the shape of the bottom of that mug. Just going to do a little highlight at the bottom. Just there. That's enough. And some of this background can get a bit brighter as well. Slightly thicker paint. There we are. I want to get a real sense of all the dust floating around. That seems important to me, but probably isn't. That's going, isn't it? Okay, now I'm fiddling. Yeah, I think that's it. I think, yeah, do you have the Sheening? I don't know. So any suggestions of titles for this? You're very welcome. Oh, messages. Aha, use the spatula. The spatula has become known. Oh, okay, I take it this is Twitch has gone a bit mad. Oh well, that's lovely to have so many messages, and I really can't get through all of these. This is great. So people are finding each other on Twitch and having a lovely chat, and yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've had a lovely time. Look at this. The time is upon us to come to an end. So yes, sorry the cat didn't make more of an appearance. I know that's what most people come for. But oh, National Left-Handers Day. Yes. I don't know when it is, but it's every day for me. There are so many messages I'd love to reply to, but it's great to have you all there. Having a chat and enjoying yourselves, and yeah, I just do this every Monday because I like painting. It makes me sit down, it makes me do it, and yeah, it's I think I've been bombed by a Discord group, so it was delighted to be raided by a Discord group. Yeah, I think I'm going to call this painting The Sheening, and let it be a lesson to you if you think dusting's dull, well, you haven't lived. I'm seeing a few things I've missed now, which have to go in, like the Invisible Man, which is what the book referred to on the mug is. I'm sure I've painted this before, but there it is again, just in case. H.G. Wells. Yeah, maybe that's a bit too regular. I've got a light on here. Light. Got a light boy. Yeah, it's nice. So yes, as the Discord group commented, I'm Bob Rossing it without an audience. So, absolutely true. That's exactly what I'm doing. And the great thing about Bob Ross was that he inspired people to pick up a paintbrush and to play and have fun. And it wasn't his paintings. If ever I'm out with my easel, somebody will come up to me and go, "Have you heard of Bob Ross?" And I have to admit that I have. But what Bob Ross did wonderfully was he just had a great time. He was just there, did his painting. This has got to be signed in red, isn't it? Oh, I've thrown safflower oil over my carpet. Gives me something to do later. Yes, and I'll leave you with a quote from Quentin Crisp, who said, "If you stop dusting, then after 6 months it stops getting any worse." That is very subtly signed, but subtle guy. I hope you've all had as good a time as I have. Of course you have. How could you have done? Maybe do some of your own paintings, and you too will have as good a time as I have. So let's just have a little look at the setup there. That's roughly what I was looking at. Oh, it won't focus on it. Come on. Yeah, you can. Can it? Yes. There we go. So there's my just to show you my dusters, my Invisible Man mug, and the lid, and the shelf, which is just a shelf I have. That's the painting. Let's try and get rid of any shine. Should have done that before, shouldn't I? There we are. Thanks for coming and messaging and engaging and all that kind of thing. And we'll see you next week.